What is up, my dudes? Welcome back to Storytime with your favorite Reddit fairy. My name is Lorna, and today I've got for you a mega episode. This is almost every single r/Tales from subreddit that I am currently following. So I've got 14 stories for you from 14 different subreddits, which include TalesFromMedicine, TalesFromFastFood, TalesFromAutoRepair, TalesFromYourServer, TalesFromTheSquadCar, TalesFromThePizzaGuy, TalesFromThePharmacy, TalesFromTheFrontDesk, TalesFromTheCustomer, TalesFromTechSupport, TalesFromSecurity, TalesFromRetail, TalesFromDispatch, TalesFromCallcenters. So make sure you add this to your watch later playlist because I have a feeling you might not make it through all the way. But if that's kind of what you're looking for, then you guys are going to have a blast with this episode. So without further ado, sit back, relax, and let's get right into it. r/Tales from Medicine, posted by user MiracleMan31. I was in several comas over a 4-month period. From 2017 to 2018, doctors diagnosed me as brain dead and said I would most likely die. However, I was in a pseudo-coma, locked in, conscious the entire time. Description: Memorial Day weekend 2017. I was diagnosed with a very rare disease called toxic acute progressive leukoencephalopathy. There is no way to prove what caused my illness. The only thing they know for sure is that it was from inhaling a toxin. This disease is nicknamed Chasing the Dragon syndrome. I used to smoke heroin on tinfoil. Odds are it was a cutting agent. This is my recovery journey from locked-in syndrome, LIS, also known as pseudocoma. It is a condition in which a patient is aware but cannot move or communicate verbally due to complete paralysis of nearly all voluntary muscles in the body, except for vertical eye movements and blinking. Everyone thought I was brain dead, but I could hear and see the entire time. People thought I would die hundreds of times, but I slowly came back to life. There has never been a recovery like mine from this illness. Wow. I'm surprised, dude, you don't even know how many times I had to stop and retry pronouncing that disease. That sounds awful. Can you imagine if, people were in his room talking about him and he couldn't even, say anything? Oh, I hope he learned a lesson that he doesn't do that shit anymore. Yikes. All right, let's get into the next one, because this is going to be a long episode, my dudes. r/Tales from Fast Food, posted by user TLM-H. New Year's. My place is 24/7 with drive-thru, so of course yesterday we had a shit ton of drunk people and a few high people. No issues, thankfully, even if some people definitely weren't having a night. All around it was still pleasant despite having to move at breakneck speeds. Until we were finally slowing down and my manager comes out from getting drive-thru payment with a disgusted look on his face. Because of course, he's just been flashed by some old dude. I was so glad not to be giving out drive-thru food at that point. Oh God. People still do this? Oh, so gross. Oh my God. I hope he ordered coffee, because if he did, you could chuck it at him. Oh my God, gross. r/Tales from AutoRepair, posted by user DaHarrys. Can you just do the tracking? It's pulling. Firstly, Happy New Year, my fellow greasers and people who just come here to listen to our rants and stories. Secondly, parallel lines don't tend to have a curve in them. So, of course, this didn't just happen, as it's only been 2020 for 42 minutes. This happened just before I left off for my Christmas holidays. It was like any other British day in a dealer, really. Cold, gray skies and looked like it was about to piss down. I just got into my workshop, which I shared with another techie just off the main building, and we were walking down to the main workshop for the mandatory morning meeting to please corporate, which usually descended into an argument between the longest-serving techs and management that killed 40 minutes, so we weren't complaining too much. As we walked down, a convoy of 3 cars rolled into the car park. Why they needed 3 cars to bring 1 car to be worked on, I don't know, but never questioned the lease companies. It's just easier. They parked up the 2 cars, waited while the local rep dropped the keys and papers off, and then they left again. Like I said, nothing out of the ordinary. The day rolls on like any other day, full of strange requests and endless bloody recalls. Until I reach this lease car. Job card states, "Car is pulling when driving. Please check tracking and adjust." Pulling in which direction would be a nice bit of info, but oh well. Took this car up the road and the vehicle is pulling to the left with the severity depending on speed and road camber, etc. Either way, I get the tracking kit, line the car up on the tracking plates, break all the tie rods off, lock everything in place, and start. Tracking was weirdly close to parallel considering the pull, but the rear flags were showing like 5 on the drivers and 11 on the passengers, which is really bloody weird considering the from was so close. To those who don't understand those numbers, an acceptable tolerance when tracking without a computer aid is about 0.2 to 0.5 degrees. Meanwhile, with the computer, I think it's 0.0 or bust. So, having a 6-degree difference is something big. I don't know what caused me to look down the length of the vehicle while I was trying to sort the flags out, but I noticed something. The driver's side chassis rail was straight, as you'd expect it to be. Meanwhile, the passenger side rail had a full-on 45-degree kicker in it before going sort of straight again. No wonder the vehicle was pulling. The chassis was more bent then. Actually, I probably can say that on Reddit, but still, it wasn't straight like it should be. But the weird thing was, the bodywork, floor pan, and pretty much everything around this rail was immaculate, like factory standard. The floor pan wasn't twisted, the bodywork was straight as a die, nothing out of the ordinary in the slightest. Then there's just this chassis rail bent like... Yeah, again, probably can't say that, but you get the picture. They had gone to so much effort to make this vehicle near factory spec again, and then just looked at the chassis rail and gone, "No one will notice that," and sent it on its merry pulling way. The worst part was the lease company didn't notice, and clearly neither did the lease techs. Either they're all blind as a bat, or they're just saying, "Yeah, that's fine," to everything. Most likely the latter, but Pryor wouldn't surprise me with those lot. They'd bought it used, and surprise, surprise, upon trying to contact the original owner to ask them what the fuck, the seller didn't exist anymore. Convenient. He took his money and ran for the bloody hills. No idea what happened to that car after it left, but I hope it's not driving around. Anyway, moral of the story is, check your fleet cars properly. Also, try before you buy. To finish on a high, here's to an amazing 2020 with plenty of mad customers and stories to go with them. Once again, Happy New Year! I'm off to sleep. Oh my god, when I worked in the garage, one time we found this customer called complaining, or he didn't call, he came in with his car, complaining that there was a noise in his front end, and he couldn't hear, he couldn't see anything. So we took the tire off, and we found a little baby kitten all stuffed up there, and it was perfectly fine, not injured at all. This guy drove who knows how far with this little kitten tucked up into his engine. And I was able to bring it to the animal vet that was just down the road on my, like, they let me leave and go take it there. But, like, oh my god, I felt so bad for this poor little kitty. It was so cute. It was orange with stripes, and it was adorable. Anyway, I hope that kitty got a really good home. It was so cute. All right, let's get into the next story. r/TalesFromYourServer, posted by user Hannibal_Lecter. New Year's Eve. So, I'm just gonna say it. I wasn't too excited when I realized I'd be working New Year's Eve. But when I got to work and there were over 108 covers and 4 servers, I got excited. The night started slow, but my tables were easy and kind, drinking a lot and asking for my recommendations. By the time 8 rolled around, I had 2 parties of 7 and 9 and some 4 tops. I felt like a crazy person running around, bar tickets at 10 minutes and food backing up. My team killed it. My managers delivered, and with only one hanger steak mistake, everything went smoothly. And I left with $650 in my pocket with just enough time to pop a bottle to rein in 2020. Definitely the best serving night I've had in my career, and even though it was insane, I felt confident in my abilities and enjoyed the night. Cheers, guys. Hope 2020 delivers kind tables who drink lots, order dessert, and tip well. I like this one. It's like a happy, oh my god, we didn't burn the place down on New Year's Eve, which is a feat in itself. Oh my god, guys, I worked in a bar on New Year's Eve one year, and I will never, ever, 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 ever do that again. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I discovered my anger issues that night. Oh no, let's get into the next one. r/TalesFromTheSquadCar, posted by user Arended Winter. Suspect. Probably should have checked those when buying the car. Not a cop, but a nice little story from a few years back on my first run-in with the local law enforcement. I've been reading some of the other stories here and wanted to share, have a laugh at my expense. This one is on me. To set the scene, somewhere in Australia in a small hilly town where life doesn't generally move very fast, I've just bought my second four-wheel drive. Nice big event. Heavy, slow, old. Did I mention heavy? Like, really heavy. Pushing 3.5 tons when empty. Good car though. Like any self-respecting four-wheel drive driver. It's a manual vehicle. This is actually important. Alright, scene set, cue details. Coming home, it's a slow drive for a car pushing 1 million kilometers and nearly 30 years in age. Rolling down into the old part of town and spy a cop car sitting in front of me at the intersection. Not doing anything illegal, so no worries to me. Start gearing down slowly from 50 in 4th. Going to take a small detour at this point and explain that I have always driven manual vehicles, and particularly in this fashion. It's actually a comedy watching me drive automatic. Brakes are almost secondary when you have so much engine braking to rely on as well. Yeah, you know where this is going. Back to the story. Clutch in, drop gear, slow release of clutch. Let the 4-liter diesel engine do the work. Rinse and repeat until in first. At this point, I am only about 20 meters from the cop car and moving maybe 10 kilometers an hour. Guy is still sitting there. He is waiting for me or something? Better use that brake, I suppose. Did I mention that I probably should have checked the brakes when I purchased the car? In hindsight, I feel that this should have been an important step in the process. I'm going to blame Spin's excuse wheel, gophers. Just kidding. I was just way too excited. So, brakes, what you doing, guys? Not working, I see. That's cool. I have a backup plan. I pull the handbrake slowly and to no avail. I'm still moving and that cop car is still not. 10 meters to go. Let's try those brakes again, mashing my foot on the floor until I feel a slight pressure. Thank God for that, I think to myself with relief as I slowly roll into the back of the now quite possibly bewildered cop car. Just a small love tap, something that says, "Gee, it's good to see you again. How have you been?" Head, meet steering wheel. I open my eyes and carefully peek between the top of the wheel and the dash to see someone emerge from the car in front. Oh no. Goodbye, license. I see the officer walk to the back of his car and look at it. He stares at it for about 3 seconds, then looks at my rhubar, pole bar to you US folks, then back at his car, then back at mine. He does this for what feels like 83 years before looking right at me. He does this slow saunter over to my window, kind of like he has all the time in the world and is just going to enjoy this. Knock, knock, knock. I sit bolt upright, deep breaths, best customer service smile that I wasn't even able to manage when doing customer service. Roll the window down. No, hands, you actually need to cooperate and roll the window down. There's no power or anything in this car. Me. Yes, officer? What can I do for you today? Maybe I was hoping he had forgotten about that little thing a few decades back. Officer. You are aware of what just happened there, aren't you? Completely nonplussed look on his face. I swear, he must have practiced this look in the mirror or be a world-class poker player. Me. All right, the game is up, so let's just get it over with. Yeah, mates, the brakes just didn't work. I have nothing else to tell you there, I'm sorry. Officer. Looks back at his car one more time, then looks at me and peers around the inside of my car. I'll give you a week to get it fixed. With that, he wanders back to his car. gets in, and off he goes onto what I can only assume was far pressing matters. Meanwhile, I struggle to process what had just happened and very slowly roll my car into first to the brake specialist only a few hundred meters away. That, I am glad to say, was and still is the only time I have met that local police here. No big ending, but sure am glad that I found out the brakes didn't work while going that slow rather than on a highway, and that the particular officer that day was apparently in a really good mood. Not that I could have guessed from his look. Before you ask, no damage to either vehicle, not even a chip of paint. Can you imagine? I'd be shitting my pants if I hit any car, let alone a cop car. Oh my god. That was funny though. Yeah, he handled it pretty well. Yeah, get that shit fixed. That's scary. Always test your brakes when you're testing a new car. Test the brakes, my dudes. All right, let's get the next one. r/TalesFromThePizzaGuy, posted by user Lord_Radish. You never know when a small act of kindness will change someone's day, week, month, or year. Wife and I ordered pizza on New Year's Eve. Expecting it soon, we gathered cash for a tip. Grabbed a 20, cause it's New Year's Eve and some poor delivery guy is working instead of having fun. As he's pulling in, my wife just decides to grab another 20, cause 2020, and wish the young man a happy new year and wishes that 2020 is great for him. His voice is cracking as he bear hugs her and thanks her and heads on. A few minutes later, she gets this text. Hi, this is the guy that was your delivery driver. I just wanted to say a sincere thank you for your very generous tip. That made my whole week, and I can't express enough how much I appreciate it. I've been going through a lot lately in my personal life, and that generosity and kindness gave me a little boost in motivation. So thank you so very much, and a very happy new year to your family. They went back and forth a few more times with lots of crying emojis. Almost got me crying too. I'm freaking tearing up here too. Oh my god, that's so beautiful. Oh, guys, I'm such a freaking sucker for like charity like this. Like I'm not even joking when I say there are tears in my eyes right now. Oh, I love you, OP. I love you and your wife. You're both freaking awesome. And I want to give you both a big bear hug too. That's great. r/TalesFromThePharmacy, posted by user I'm Sergeant Pepper. Lunatic, who is probably off her meds. We had a woman call yesterday to check on the status of a prescription. The tech who answered politely asked for the patient's birthday so she could look into it. For absolutely no reason, the woman just went off on her, saying she was being incredibly rude and demanded to speak to someone else. So I take the call next. Hello, this is my name. She immediately begins screaming at me. I can hear her voice quivering like she's on the verge of tears. I just want to say that I can't believe one of you would speak to me the way that woman did. I'm a customer. Why would anyone think that's acceptable? I'm very careful about keeping my voice soft and gentle so as to not push her further. What happened? What's going on? Is there something I can do to help you?
Unbelievable! I just complained to you about another employee and you don't even acknowledge it or care.
Ma'am, I'm trying to help you.
No, you're not! You don't even care! What a joke!
I need you to talk to me.
You people are ridiculous. I'll just have to call back some other time. I don't want to talk to you people.
She then called the store manager. It's a grocery store pharmacy, and complained on both me and the other tech. Store manager came back to the pharmacy. He wasn't mad. He said he could tell she was a psycho just from talking to her. The pharmacist defended both me and the other tech, saying we are both very calm and patient with her and she just refused to talk to us. We have no idea who it even was because she refused to identify herself. What a lunatic. Oh, I kind of feel bad for her, as maybe she's needs that medication that she's calling about to control urges like this. Because if you're that triggered over someone just asking your date of birth, when it's like a medical, reason, you gotta wonder what's going on there. I kind of feel bad for her. And this OP is calling her a psycho and a lunatic. I mean, she is a little unbalanced for sure. Oh, I kind of feel bad for her. Oh well, let's move on to the next one. r/TalesFromTheFrontDesk, posted by user HellsKells. We call him the Dick Bandit. I'll be honest with you, I enjoy my job, but some nights you are done with your shift before you're even halfway. I work night audit at a popular franchise of trendy hotels in a downtown area with a vibrant nightlife, and have been here for 2 months. These are excellent ingredients for some bizarre stories, and this was bizarre by every definition. So this happened a few days ago. At about midnight, just when I am settled in, the bar is closed, all is quiet. We auditors dream of nights this quiet, but unfortunately, a gentleman walks in looking suspicious before I even see him in the lobby. Definitely the shady type of character, having a phone conversation, and walks right past the desk towards our ATM, looking over his shoulder and all. The phone is clearly off, so he's faking the conversation. I wave security over closer and whisper that he looks interested in stealing from our ATM. So we watch him. He notices us watching him, and he decides to chill in our lobby near the machine. Whatever, man. You do you. We'll wait. He was pretty interested in waiting too, since he sat around there for about 90 minutes. Security lets me know he's gonna go smoke, then tells the guy to leave. So I run my pre-audit and just wait. Sorry, buddy, but no stolen ATM cash for you tonight. The guy disappears behind the wall of a hallway towards one of our doors. Great, I thought. He must be leaving then. Nope, naive me wasn't ready for this dude. This dude was ready to assert his dominance. He comes back around the corner, locks eyes with me, pants down, cranking his hog at full speed. For a few seconds, I wasn't even sure what the hell I was looking at, but immediately I pick up the walkie and radio to security. You need to get over here now, he's jerking off. I will forever retain the image of security approaching this dude, and the dude bolts, hog in hand, pants half down to his truck outside. It was a really nice truck too, not what we expected. He peels out at max speed and we never see him again. Never caught a plate or name, he never said a word to us. He is forever known as the Dick Bandit among our staff, and reminds me of why I cherish the boring, quiet nights the most. Edit. TLDR. Dude tries to steal from an automated teller machine, turns into an aroused touching machine, and tries to rip a quickie. That's fucking so gross. Oh my god. I would be like, no, I'm sorry. You pull your junk out in front of me. You must not like owning that junk too much, because it's gonna get severely damaged if you pull that shit out in front of me. Because fuck that. That's disgusting. You're disgusting, and you deserve to have your balls stomped on with my big ass boots, is all I'm saying. r/TalesFromTheCustomer, posted by user Pajama Life. Another hotel guest screamed abuse at me and threw my belongings onto the floor. Hotel declined to deal with it. A young woman, 16 or 17, spilled ice cream onto my coat, and while I was asking, calmly and politely, for an apology, her father ran across the reception screaming, "Don't you fucking speak to my daughter! Fuck off!" Then snatched my coat out of my hands and threw it across the reception area. The man then screamed abuse and called my partner all sorts of names, described me as a tart, and fucking old dog. The hotel told me that he would be asked to leave. He wasn't, and that they had called the police. They didn't. The man only left when I told his friend, who was trying to calm things, that the police had been called. The hotel then said that they were checking whether he was a resident before they called the police, but as he'd left, they decided not to call. I rang the police myself after I had left. This is a hotel that I am a regular guest at, and am a member of their gym. Although the staff involved were very nice, I don't think I can trust them to keep anyone safe, and I'm very disappointed by them. Were my expectations unreasonable? No. That's bullshit. Like, he physically was attacking you. You were just being calm and polite. I mean, if you're telling the truth, that is. You never know the other side. Some people seriously sugarcoat their actions, if you know what I'm saying. But if that is true, you were calm and collected and very polite, then that guy needs some fucking anger management and a quick reality check with a little police visit, I would say. r/TalesFromTechSupport. Posted by user Darlord Vader. What were you thinking, Hubert? Hello again. At the request of others in my last Hubert post, here's yet another Hubert tale from Tech Support. So, no shit. There I was coming in for my scheduled shift at work. For those that don't know, my team provides technical support of the networking variety for job sites across the country. I'd go into further detail, but I don't want to give too much away and get figured out. Hubert was part of our internal IT support, supporting our main HQ. Originally, he was hired on as an assistant, but at this point of the story, his lead ended up resigning for another position. Such is life. The significance of this is that meant Hubert was responsible for everything that needed to be done at HQ. Printer not working? Go get Hubert. Laptop having issues? Find Hubert. India support having issues with the phone software we use? Yep, you guessed it. Hubert, Hubert, Hubert. On this particular day, I arrived and saw my boss working off of his laptop, which I found odd because he's sitting at his desk workstation with 3 monitors. Why is he using his laptop? Turns out, Hubert was trying to troubleshoot the issue with our phone software by making sure that the Cat5 runs we had going across our office were good. His idea of troubleshooting was to start cutting Cat5 cables running through our area, and then run more cable. But he didn't do this at a time where my team would be out of the office or early morning/late evening. Oh no, he decided to do this when he waltzed in at 8 a.m. And guess whose line was not only the first one to go get cut, but the only one that would end up getting cut all day. If you guessed my boss, you've won your own "God damn it, Hubert" t-shirt. Apparently, the ass-chewing my boss gave Hubert was legendary. Hubert swore up and down all he did was cut the Cat5 cable, so he ran a new cable, but somehow he didn't stop to think where the cable began or ended. It took the majority of the day to get fixed, and that was only because my boss ended up helping him so that he could get back to work that much sooner. TLDR, Hubert decided to troubleshoot a phone software issue by cutting the Cat5 cable that feeds to my boss's workstation. Edit. Oh my god, over 500 upvotes. Guys, thank you so much. Huge shout out to everyone suggesting titles for the story where Hubert lost his position. I'm currently at the bar laughing my head off at these titles. I may post one more tonight, but I'm not sure. You're also reigniting a long-lost passion for writing, so thank you for that as well. Edit 2. At nearly 1K upvotes, we now have Hubert Did What for your reading pleasure. This is Kevin. His name isn't Hubert, it's Kevin. I need to comment that right now. Yeah, okay, I'll do that later. But yeah, this guy's like a total Kevin, for real. Like, oh, this is good. This is so good. Why? I never understood why, like, people in Hubert's position would, do work like this in the beginning of the day or the middle of the day. You gotta wait until most of the people are gone for the day, or most of the people have got their work done for the day. Not first thing in the morning when people are coming in to, check their emails and all that shit. Like, just, nah. Oh my god. Okay, let's get into the next story. r/TalesFromSecurity, posted by user Knight_Rodin. Crazy has been my greatest teacher. Some of the lessons I learned working mental health. I haven't worked hospital security for long, but I sure have learned a lot. The training provided by my company was garbage, so I owe my super and team a lot for taking me under their wing and teaching me actual practical skills in my early days. That being said, the most important lessons I've learned have been from my charges, the mental patients. Below are some of them, occasionally accompanied by a story to relate. Fairly long, so I'm dividing them into sections with bold headers. everyone's got something to blame, except themselves. Being mental health, a lot of the mental health patients had problems, from addictions to mental illness to placing themselves or others at risk with their behavior. But those were just the problems they came in with. What's of more concern are the problems they have once inside. Getting their privileges revoked, having their involuntary stay extended, and being physically restrained and/or chemically sedated. Thing is, 75% of the time they bring these problems upon themselves through their own actions. There was this kid, let's call him Abe, in the child section of the mental ward, involuntarily admitted due to doing drugs with his boys and then doing idiotically starting fights out in public. Thing with Abe was, he was close to getting discharged multiple times. Seriously, I spoke with his nurse and the psychiatrist, and quite often the kid was close to getting out. Except, it got postponed every time. The first time, Abe got impatient a day before his release, started a fight with the nurse causing a code white, violence or potential violence call, and had to be restrained. The second time, he tried running out while on a privilege break with his nurse, causing another code white where we had to handcuff him and drag his ass back into the ward. Of course, Abe, being the genius he is, tried to swing kick some other random nurse on the way back while we had him in cuffs and were on both sides holding him, which led to another restraint. Third time was a while after. He was on good behavior and through some blessing actually made it to the meeting with his psychiatrist. Of course, I get a call a while later for a patient standby, and there's Abe, pissed at being denied his discharge. The reason? In a noble display of honesty, he admitted to the psychiatrist and his mom that he'd be smoking weed with his boys the second he was out to celebrate. While I respected his forthcoming nature, I later tried explaining to him that maybe he should have shut the fuck up about that little detail during the meeting and advised him to do so for the next one. Every time we'd take down, restrain, or chemically sedate Abe, he'd always have an excuse.
My mom's keeping me here.
No, it's your decision to do dumb shit right before your psychiatrist meeting.
The nurse made me angry.
They asked you to take your meds, but you chose to act on anger from that and start a fight.
Security keeps putting me in restraints.
And why are we called to do that, Abe? But I, and now you, know the truth. Abe's problems were largely of his own making. Sure, there were likely situational factors which led him to getting locked up in a mental health ward, but every time he was close to leaving, he did something of his own accord to fuck it up. We, the nurses and security team who lovingly paid him visits, finally coached him enough that he managed to keep straight and get out. But Abe's story is an unfortunate reminder that most people love to make excuses without realizing that a lot of the time, they're the reason for their own problems. Beware the silent ones. Nobody likes being told that they're now involuntarily admitted to the mental health ward, and the majority of them take to expressing their displeasure by being barkers. I love barkers. Them being busy barking means they're not trying to start a fight. It means they're still open to verbal communication. And even for the ones that did turn physical despite barking, there were nice and clear signs that they were about to scrap. Clenched fists, squared up posture, etc. The quiet ones, on the other hand, they always set me on edge. I don't know if it's because I can't read them as easily as I can a barker, but the silent mental health patients always made me wary since I was going in with a lot less info than I would otherwise have. Thing is, you don't know if a silent patient's good or bad. They certainly have no verbal tells, and their physical tells are hard to spot as well. We had a guy, let's call him Waldo, who was the epitome of silence. He'd say nothing except when he wanted food or drinks or a shower. Just stay in his room and sometimes erratically wander the halls. And most importantly, randomly cause code whites. What we thought was random wandering was often him casing the exit doors, which led to him often making escape attempts. He also tried assaulting our guys on a few occasions, which unfortunately didn't end too well for Waldo. Every time we had a code with this guy, nobody knew beforehand that it was going to happen. Waldo just spontaneously acted upon good opportunities. While I didn't deal with Waldo overly much, he taught me the stark lesson of always being on 110% guard against the quiet ones. If you watched him very closely, you would notice in hindsight how a lot of his silence was a mask, a sort of poker face, so we wouldn't know what he was planning and when he would attempt an escape. I am now always paranoid around the quiet patients. Who knows what they're planning? Sir talk doesn't always work. Formal language such as, "Could you please remain detained against your wall, sir?" doesn't always work. Sure, there's a time and place for it in many situations, and I'm certain you folk who work in corporate or commercial sites have a lot more use for it than I do, but it just isn't very feasible in mental health, especially when a lot of the mental health people are coming hot off the street. You try to spin that sir nonsense with a mental health patient who's been told they're now detained for the weekend, and you're gonna get an angry mental health patient who thinks you're part of what's keeping him here. I learned early on that instead of trying to talk all fancy, you've got to level with the person you're talking to, which often means bringing out a more genuine dialect. In fact, of all my stories from hospital security, the ones I'm most proud of are the ones where I prevent codes from happening altogether by leveling with and just talking to the guy or gal. One such story was with a guy called Shaq. Shaq didn't like the fact that he was involuntarily admitted to the hospital, so he got mad, took his shirt off, and started pacing around his room demanding to go home. Of course, this led to a code white being called, and I run up there. Of course, I find the nurse and management trying to sir-talk the guy from outside the room, since they were scared, which of course just gets him more worked up, and I saw it wasn't working, so I stepped in. Mind you, a lot of the conversation is roughly off memory, and I skip some of the useless filler parts, but the general wording is roughly accurate. "Yo, what's going on, my man? I hear code white called and run over, but I don't see you doing anything. You sure you're the one I'm called for?" He visibly calms down at seeing the first person to actually enter the room and speak to him human to human, looks at me and says, "I just want to go home." I then explain to him what's making the staff outside so wary of him. "So, I'm gonna be real with you. They called a code white for you because they're scared. They see a shirtless young guy walking around, and he's mental health. It scares them. So how about we take one step for now and at least put your shirt back on, just to show them that you're good. Because you and I both know that the shirt coming off means a scrap's about to go down, and that's what it looks like to them." In the middle of this, a nurse thinks it's a great idea to walk in with a set of restraints in naked view and suggest to me quietly that he needs to go in restraints. Of course, I veto that idea and send her out of the room. So they're using words like restraint, but I don't agree with that. I get that the code was called, but honestly, man, you seem good to me, just a little agitated at not being allowed to go home. Way I see it, if you were going to do something, you would have done it already. Yet, you're not going out there trying to fight. You're just pacing inside your own room and just talking. By this point, he's calmed down a lot, and my words seem to have helped him understand that not everyone's out to get him. He replies with, "Yeah, somebody gets it," and puts his clothes back on as a sign of the staff that he wasn't being aggressive. Situation eventually ends as other great members of my team calm him further, and he's allowed to go home. In that situation, no amount of sir talk would have helped. In fact, it was making him madder. On the other hand, somebody leveling with him helped him get out of a lose-lose situation, both for us and for him. To be continued. Honestly, I'm not the best writer, and I don't know how well my choppily put together stories and cringe-worthy dialogue flow, but if you guys like the stories, I have more lessons I learned involving nurse stupidity, how you sometimes have to rough people up to curb their violent behavior, the fun stuff, and more general insanity, which I'm happy to post as an edit tomorrow. It's pretty late at night for me. Oh my god. I don't even remember. This is Tales from Security. It's like not even Tales from the hospital or something like that. But wow, this guy's got some stories. I might have to follow him. Holy moly. All right, my dudes, before I get into the next story, don't forget to smash that subscribe button and turn on notifications for future videos just like this one. r/TalesFromRetail, posted by user Astrid and Lorelei. Not all countries have the same currency. For some context, I was working at a busy customer service job in America as part of an exchange program, but I am not from America. In my country, we don't have names for our coins. For example, a coin that's worth 10 cents is just called a 10-cent coin, not a dime. I found this very confusing when I first started this job, and it took me a while to get used to all the different coins and their names. I often had a lot of customers that were tourists from other countries as well who had the same problem. When I had a customer that was from a different country as well, I didn't feel as much pressure to hurry up with the transaction, and they gave me time to figure out the currency. I also don't have an American accent, and my name tag said what country I was from. One day, I was working the register, and an American couple came up to buy some things. Their total ended up being around $12.05, and the man gave me a $20 note. Just as I was about to finalize the transaction, he said to me, "Hold on, I'll give you a dime." He then handed me a coin, but the particular coin he gave me was a bit unclear and difficult to read. I was still very new to this job and hadn't got the hang of the currency yet. I couldn't read the coin, and I wanted to give him the right change, so I held up the coin he gave me and politely said, "I'm sorry, but is this 10 cents? He looked at me like I was an idiot. "Man, it's a dime." Me, "I know, but is that 10 cents? I can hear that he's getting frustrated with me, and he starts shaking his hands around when he speaks. "Man, it's a dime." Me, "I'm sorry, sir, but I don't know how much a dime is. Is it 10 cents? His mouth opened in shock to how stupid he thought I was, and he looked at his wife for some help. His wife looked at my name tag and saw that it said I wasn't from America. She then says to her husband, "Honey, she's from another country." The man looked at my name tag and said, "Oh, well, then yeah, I guess it's 10 cents. I understand that it's a really simple thing to people from that country, but I was just asking for a simple yes or no question. Oh my god, you asshole. Like, seriously. If, you know what I mean? Like, nobody, okay, my mind is exploding right now. I think you guys just heard it. A cashier isn't going to waste your time and ask you if a dime is 10 cents. If they're from, like, why would you think they would waste your time with this if they already know it's 10 cents? You fucking dick. Learn how to be a better person. Jesus. r/TalesFromDispatch, posted by user rail_control. Sorry, I will fix that. The other day I received a call from a customer emergency phone. Rail control. State your emergency. Customer. The signs are reporting that the next train is 40 minutes away. Rail control. That's not an emergency, but I can fix it. Customer. Thank you. Rail control. I'm turning the ETA signs off now. Customer. But... Click. I then turned off the next train signage for about 3 hours. That's so petty. But what about the other people that are around there? I understand that you wanted to just get back at them for calling an emergency line with a non-emergency, but what if there's other people? Oh, no. All right, my dudes, and the last story of the day is from r/TalesFromCallcenters, posted by user ShelbyDB. Thank you so much for your help. Long story short, Karen didn't pull up her credit card account immediately when she called in. Me. This is Shelby, an undisclosed location office. May I have your full card number, please? Karen. I don't have the card. Me. Okay, what's your full SSN? Karen. I don't feel comfortable giving that out. I just want to look at a transaction. Me. That's understandable, and I'd love to look over the transaction with you. However, I can't look at it without an account. Do you know the last 4 and your zip? Karen. No, I just told you I don't have the card. Her snappiness was starting to rub me the wrong way here. Me. Your last 4 is viewable on a statement as well. Karen. I don't have that either. Why do you even need all this info? Just pull up the account. Right. I could have asked her for her first and last name and zip code at this point as a last resort, but I was done with her. Me. I need the information to pull up your account. Without the account, I can't see the transaction. I do apologize for the inconvenience, but are you in a position where you can grab your card real quick? Karen. No, I'm not. Me. Then I'm afraid you'll need to give us a call back when you have the card readily available. We're here 24/7 to assist. Karen. Great, thank you so much for all your help. She popped her P at the end and everything. It was great. Me, in the cheesiest voice, very obviously barely holding back laughter. You're welcome. Click. I smiled like a Cheshire cat for ages after that. That's petty too, because like OP said, they could have pulled up the account another way, but I mean, she wasn't being overly aggressive, but again, you don't really hear the tone of voice that she had with OP. But it's okay. It's petty. It's nothing pro revenge or, nuclear revenge or nothing like life changing. So I like the petty revenge. Pro revenge, nuclear, supernova revenge they're a little too extreme for my taste. All right, my dudes, I hope you enjoyed this episode. I really, really love doing these mashup episodes. It gives you a little variety, a little flavor of a little bit of everything that Reddit has to offer, and it's so entertaining. I hope you guys enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed reading them. If you did, please smash that like button. It really helps me out, and don't forget to leave a comment below. Don't forget to submit your stories, my dudes. Any of your fur baby pictures, any pictures you guys want to show me at all that you would like to see in a future video, send them my way. All my socials are down in the description, along with all the links to the stories that I read here today. So if you want to head on over to Reddit and show those posters some love with some upvotes, I'm pretty sure they would appreciate it. So as always, my dudes, don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications for future videos just like this one, so you never miss one. And that's all I got for you today. I hope you guys are having an awesome day, and I will see you in tomorrow's r/choosing beggars episode. Peace out, my dudes.